So the question is, what does it mean? You should force him to bring a korban. On the other hand, it has to be l'ritzoyne. It has to be by his will. He has to want to. It's an oxymoron. So Rashi says, the way to have it is, you have to force him until he says, I want to. So this is an interesting, it's a Gemara Rashi is quoting. That means that if he wants to, you force him if he wants to. Right. So the question is, what does it help? If it's against his will, so how do you're forcing him, but you're not allowed to bring a korban against your will is not a good korban. So what's the point of doing this? If he just says I want to, right? He's not really accomplishing anything because he really is against his nature. It's against his real wants is he doesn't want to bring a get. Right? He doesn't want to bring a korban. And this is brought down Hilchos Gittin, the same Gemara is brought there too. Now let's say someone doesn't want to give a get to his wife in a certain situation where he's supposed to. So we learn out over there too. I'll read you how the Rambam says it. The Rambam says an interesting thing also. The same type of nusach. What does he say? We'll find exactly what it is.
So he told me first time is and all we talked about today. But if our first technical
ran away at this second. So I have to think about where it is. But in any event, but
you beat him until he said yes.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Same thing. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got it. So the Rambam here is in Hilchos Gittin, Parak Beis Halacha Beis. It says in Gittin that if someone, I'll give you exactly what the case was. Halacha Chaf, actually, Halacha Chaf, says the following words: someone who the din is that he's supposed to divorce his wife. So the rule is we force him to get divorced. So he says, even if he doesn't want to, the best is they hit him. They start giving him lashes until he says I want to, and then he writes a get, and then it's kosher. So the Rambam says, why is this a good get? Every time you force someone, if let's say I force you to sell. If I force you to sell a house, right? If they hang up a guy and say, "You better sell me this thing," and he says, "Okay, I'll sell it to you." That's what Gemara Kedushin says. That's called like Teluhu. They hung him up in his oven. It's not a good deal because even though he said it, but his real words in his heart, Barim Shebelev, he really doesn't want to sell it. So therefore, why is a get good? Get should also not be good. He's forced, whether it was whoever forced him. So why is it good? So the Rama said the following words. The Lama la get batal. Why is this get not batal? Sharei hu anus. He's forced. But we don't say, right, he's forced. The forced person, we don't really say his words have any consequence. Anus all over the Torah, he's punished. Someone does something and he's forced to do it. The Torah doesn't hold him accountable. So the reason is because here it's only anus if he's forced to do something. Someone forces him to do something where he's not allowed to do it. Like someone hit him and forced him to sell something or to give a present. So there we say, that's not a real action. But someone who's Yetzer Hara forced him to do something. Yetzer Hara is telling him, don't wake up from chakras. And Yetzer Hara has got him in a bind, he doesn't want to, or it's his own Yetzer Hara. But he's forced. That's called force. Or as Yetzer Hara tells him to do an Aveira, and they force him, and they come and start telling him they're trying to tell him not to do that. Or and they force him until he does the thing that he's supposed to, or they force him not to do the thing he's not supposed to. That's not called Einus. That doesn't go into the rules of Einus, because Einus ain't there Einus mimenu alahu anus atzmai b'dat hara. he wasn't forced from someone else. He forced himself with his Yetzer Hara. And therefore, we say, this person who doesn't want to give a get, since he wants to be a regular Jew, he wants to be part of the Yidden, so therefore he really wants to do all the mitzvahs. So if he wants to do all the mitzvahs, then he's not allowed to, he has to be far from Averos. So he says his Yetzer is the one who forced him. Until his Yetzer Hara got so weak, so you have to force him to start to let the Yetzer let go, let his grasp on you to grow a little weaker. And therefore the forcing is really just to let you get back to yourself. And then when he says right Zani, he was, it's already from his real will. His real will is he wants to be part of Klal Yisrael. So he's saying.
Everyone wants to do the right thing.
Everyone wants to do the right thing, and everyone wants to be part of Klal Yisrael. And
you're giving Malchus to the Yetzer Hara.
So we're giving Malchus to let him not be forced from himself.
Right.
Everywhere else he's forced from someone else. Someone else forced him to do something. That's what type of violence. There, it's not. His actions are not real. They're not. They don't count. But here, it's a little different. It's not. Here, it's he himself forced himself. He's saying that's not counted. When you force yourself, that's not called the einus. You force yourself with your bad das, with your wrong das, with the Yetzer Hara. So therefore, he says you really want to be part of the Yisrael. So you really want your true self really wants to do the right thing. Just your force. A person could recognize this in a time of a big test. He knows he really wants to do the right thing. Just he has like a hold on him. His Yetzer Hara has got him locked up. So therefore, if someone would help you, and someone would come along and try to push you in the right way, so then if someone would help you, then you would say yes, sure, and you would go in that way. So therefore, you see that it's the Yetzer Hara who's forcing you. Therefore, the Rambam said that's why it's a good get, and Yetzer Hara is just pushing you. And therefore, when you finally say Roitzani, when you say those words Roitzani, it's not like the way everyone asks, and the Rambam himself brings up. It's not that the pshat that someone is forcing you, and therefore it should be a get. It shouldn't be a good get. It should be batal. Rather, he's forcing you. Bez is forcing you to do what you really want to do. Every other case, they're forcing you to do something you don't want to do. When they force you to sell it, so you're going against your will. That's why it's not a good sale and it's not a good present if someone forces you to give any present or to give kedusha. Not a good kedusha because they're forcing you to do something you don't want to.
What about forcing to get somebody tzedakah?
So we do force them to give tzedakah. So that would be the same Rambam. That would fit into the Rambam's rule that in certain cases Bezin would force all the people of the city to give tzedakah. The reason is because he really wants to give tzedakah. It's just that his Yetzer Hara has gotten the better of him and he's gotten stingy, so he doesn't want to give from his Daita Hara, his Yetzer Hara. So we have to help him get back to himself.
So the concept of Pinto Yid is halacha l'maisa.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So every Jew, right? Every Jew is once a Jew. He's always a Jew, and you can't go away from that. And this Reb Dessler spoke about this Rambam a lot, and that's what he says also. The pasuk says at the end of B'chul Koisai, Hashem says, "Lo ma'astim, I have not despised Klal Yisrael, v'lo ge'altim, and I have not also become disgusted with them to destroy them." And therefore, he's saying that Hashem has promised that exactly what you're saying here. You're mechaven to exactly how Reb Dessler says it. I have been promised never to despise them or to disgrace them, to destroy them. I will never destroy them. So he learns up, I will never destroy Hanekuda HaYehudid. It's a Kol Yehudi v'Yehudi. That small point, which is by every Jew. Therefore, Nimtza comes out every Jew b'plimius in the inside of his lave, roita liyos miyisrael. Exactly what you're saying. This is Reb Dessler, and on this point, he's saying everyone wants to be a Yid and everyone wants to do all the mitzvahs. Just he's a Einus. He has the Yetzer Hara. So therefore, he let his Yetzer Hara. He gave his Yetzer Hara some rule. Like Reb Dessler's famous aside is that the Nekudas HaBechira, you have Bechira, but it might move up and down depending on the stage where you're holding. and every time you conquer your Yetzer Hara, you have moved up a level, and now, like someone waking up for chakras. So if he's holding on a point where for him, it's just an example, but you could just plug it into whatever case. If he's holding on this level, so waking up for chakras for him is a nisayah, right? For someone else, let's say he would say, I'm getting up for chakras. Now his question is, should he get there a minute early, a few minutes early to say brachas? On the other hand, someone else, he can't wake up to get for chakras. He'll wake up maybe for Zman Kriyas Shema, right, to daven by himself. So there's different levels depending on where but it's you yourself have given the Yetzer Hara this power. So that's why he said that the Yetzer Hara you have given it, but you could free yourself from the shackles. It doesn't mean, it's a misconception that people think from their Tesla that once you reach this point, so this is your Nisayan, that means to go, this part is for sure, that's not in your realm of Bechira. It doesn't mean that if your Nekudas Bechira is here, that means you can't wake up for chakras and come 10 minutes early. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means on a regular day that you won't be able to fight such a Nisayan until you raise your level. But if you get in sudden inspiration, you could. So therefore that's what the Rambam is saying over here too. When he gets help, whether it will be through Bezdin or wherever, then he says, right, and now he says that his Pnimius Halev Hatara became revealed, his inner pure heart became revealed, and therefore he will get help. But he says that's even what we daven, that Hashem should help us out. Because it says, Hashem will help circumcise your heart. We'll get even help certain times to do what's right. Okay, so therefore that's what he says, that people think we're free. We could do whatever we want, but the truth is, most people who are free and doing whatever they want, they're really bound by the Yetzer Hara. They're an onus. Most people who are free are onus. They're bound up by the Yetzer Hara. And if anything, the people who are listening to the Bezdin and to the Rabbanim, where the Rabbanim place certain restrictions or certain rules, it's really for our good to let go of the Yetzer Hara. I just read of the rules. What? Pesach, Bechira. I just read of the new rule they want to do, not a rule, but they want to suggest that if you take a package for a chasana, that let's say everything's cheaper. You take 2-piece band and a certain amount of flowers, not extravagant, and you get a cheaper deal. So some people might think they're being bound up. They're forcing me to act in a certain way. But if anything, it's getting free from the shackles of the desires. So that's what comes out from the first thing. In Toronto, yes. Rabbi Lowy. That's in New York. Rabbi Lowy has just. Yeah. It's not. They're not koifin. They're not forcing this. But they're getting it much cheaper if someone tries to take the package. That will be more, that way people will start taking it and it'll become more in style for a 2-piece band. Not a 1-piece band, you want to make it nice, but on the other hand they want to give people a desire to go for the most extravagant flowers and everything. All the first. Yeah. So this is the first view of how to learn these words. According to Rashi, right, then this is Rashi. The Rambam's going with Rashi. The Yaakov Oisel Lirtoni means we force him Lirtoni by his will. Which means we force him. Right. That's how you answer that up.
Where's the Rambam?
And the Rambam is in Hilchos Gittin, Perak Beis, Halacha Chaf. Way to remember it. And that's how the Rambam and Rashi learn up this pasuk. Now the Rashbam on the bottom of the Chumash, you look up in the Chumash, which has all the Mefarshim, the Christ Gedolos. The Rashbam learns this differently.
Wait a second.
The Rashbam, right? This is the first shot. We force him. Liritzainai, by his will, means we force him to have a will. We give him malchus, he says he wants to, and that's called the Korban and Pasuk Gimel. The Rashbam learns differently. Rashbam says the following words, right? The beginning of the Pasuk is talking about if he brings a Zachar Tamim. So he says, if he'll bring a Zachar, right? The Pasuk says, Zachar Tamim, he'll be complete without any mum. So then it says, and he'll bring it the Pesach Oyel Mayed. The pasuk says to bring it to the Pesach Oyel Mayed, to the opening of Oyel Mayed. Yakriv Oisai, and then he will bring it close. Then Oz Yeh Eloi L'Ratzon. The Rashbam learns, then it will be for him l'ratzon. It will be an appeasement. It will be a goodwill to Hashem. But he says if someone will bring a Baal Mum, a sick animal, or one that has a mum, blemish, then it says the famous pasuk in Malachi that says, "Do you think Hashem wants a korban, which is Baal Mum?" Famous pasuk that we learn out from there. Do you think Hashem will want it? No, Hashem doesn't want. Hashem wants something. Should bring a nice thing. So therefore, the Rashbam is learning a different pshat in the pasuk. He's saying l'ritzaynai doesn't mean by your will. The question is whose ratzon is it? Rashi and the Rambam is learning l'ritzaynai of the man. Right? El Pesach Oyel Mayed Yakriv Oisai. Yakriv Bezdin brings him close. L'ritzaynai by the man's own will when he finally says I want to bring it. And l'fnei Hashem, and he comes in front of Hashem. And that's the korban. Rashbam says a different John pasuk. Yaakov Oisai means that he should come bring it close. L'Rtzaynai l'fnei Hashem, and if he does all these prerequisites, then it will be l'Ratzayn, or the goodwill in front of Hashem. It's by the will of Ratzayn of Hashem. We'll find this all over, right? We say l'Ratzayn a lot of times, but there a lot of times it says l'Ratzayn should be l'Ratzayn l'fnei Hashem. So that's how the Rashbam learns over here. It should be by the Ratzayn of Hashem. And that's actually what we say, that the korban has to be, it's one of the 6 things a person should have in mind, is the type of korban, it should be l'shma, and it should be l'ratzayn of Hashem. So that's how the Rashbam learns. So it's an interesting machlokes how to interpret that. So that's the other pshat. Okay, so and they add in another idea that the Moshe Zakanim says that what type of animal are we dealing with here? Here we're dealing with the big animals, Behema Gasa. It's not talking about the small animals, Behema Dakla. It's talking about big animals. So the Moshe Zakanim says that it costs a lot of money to bring a big animal. Therefore, the pasuk has to say l'ritzaynai. This is going along with Rashi and the Rambam's shot that you needed to force him that he should have it. He should do it with his own will because he has to spend a lot of money. But you'll see later on when it gets to the small animals, it doesn't say l'ritzaynai. You want to say because over here you need to get his goodwill.
Sounds like an oxymoron to me. You force him to do it from his own will.
So the Rambam's saying that you have to give him
your will.
If
you force me to do something, it's not my will, it's your will.
You force him until he says I want it. Until he says right Johnny. When he says right Johnny, then
and that's not called under duress?
Oh, so the Rambam asked the question. But the Rambam says because he really wants to bring it. In his heart of hearts, his pintala, the flickering spark that the Balatanya says, every Jew has a fire burning even if he's far, far away. He really wants to do what's good. He has his Yetzer Hara, which is shackling him, and therefore the Malchus will make him get freed from his shackles. A person will use this and he can get rid of his shackles. If he has any nisayon, if he works and he learns Musar, then he can also get rid of the shackles.
So the Ritzon, Ritzon means his own will. The person giving the will, the person bringing the korban.
Right. And the Moshe Zakanim also goes along that view.
And the other view is what?
Another view is the Rashbam. Rashbam says yes, it will be l'ritzaynai l'fnei Hashem, and that's what the last words in the pasuk say.
Meaning Hashem's will.
Right. He puts, according to Rashbam, you read it like this: l'ritzaynai l'fnei Hashem. It will be for goodwill in front of Hashem. Right. That Hashem will have a ratzah. That's how he learns.
What do you mean Hashem will have a ratzah?
It will be l'ratzah l'fnei Hashem. It will be as an appeasement in front of Hashem. The way we usually say that's the usual meaning of how we do it. And that's how they actually, a few Mefarshim learn up this pasuk. But Rashi doesn't learn like that, and therefore how's Rashi going to learn this pasuk? It's interesting how Rashi learns the last few words.
What would you say is the pasuk? Hashem's will or the person's will?
I don't know. We have to think about it. You have to read the pasuk and think about what you would think. There's two open ways. Well, right? You tell me what would be your muskal rishon, your first thought. I don't know. You get. I already have now two views in me. You can take a look. What's your Pashut Pshat? Do you read it? Yaakov Venu El Pesach Hamayid. Bring him close to the opening of the El Mayid. Yaakov Vaysai. Yaakov Vaysai actually sounds like it's two ways to read it. Yaakov Vaysai. He shall bring it, the Korban. Liritzaynai, according to Rashi. Well, Yaakov Vaysai means we bring him, Liritzaynai, with his will, Snei Hashem. That's how Rashi learns it. Or, according to the Rashbam, it's a different shot. Rashbam's going to say, if he brings Yaakov Vaysai, it could be Yaakov Vaysai means he brings the animal. It could be Vaysai referring to the animal according to Rashi.
Why is Yaakov Benu, sorry I came late, but why is Yaakov Benu like plural there? Why is Yaakov Benu, how do you
the truth is, that's what bothered Rashi. Why did it say Yaakov twice? Yaakov Benu and then Yaakov.
What does Yaakov Benu mean? How did you touch Yaakov Benu?
Yaakov Benu means you should be Makovitz. We didn't go.
But why is it plural?
So we didn't go into that. Meaning
maybe the Jewish people, they should bring
it. It means we should be Makovit. So I didn't go into that idea.
Yakriv oto, and then it becomes singular. Bring it. L'ritzono, meaning, in other words, as an appeasement to Hashem, before Hashem. That's, to me, that would be the Pashut Pshat, if I didn't know any commentaries.
Okay.
And you're saying, and the new Pshat would be that that the person should bring it willingly.
Right.
The Ritzono meaning the Ratzon of the Baal Korban.
Right. And the question now we go a step further. What does it mean L'fnei Hashem? How do you touch the next words? L'fnei Hashem, in front of Hashem. What do those words mean? So, Pashut Pshat, it means, according to Rashbam, it means L'ritzoyne L'fnei Hashem. If you go like the Rambam,
be a kapara on himself.
Right.
Rather than it should have been himself that was supposed to be a korban, but he's bringing the animal. Right? Which animal is a kapara on his own.
So which God are you saying? According to the Rashbam or Rashbam?
Something like that.
How did you work in? That was interesting. How did you work in that it should have been a substitute for him from the words? Did you say that?
Lirtzon Hashem. Bring the animal as a kapara for yourself. You don't want to be a korban, so you bring the animal.
Right. Yaakov also. That's the idea, right? That they say that the korban is instead of the person. But it's interesting. Does Rashi say L'fnei Hashem? So what does L'fnei Hashem mean? Pashut Pshat means you should bring it in front of Hashem.
Yeah.
Now Rashi, look at the last Rashi in this pasuk. Rashi says L'fnei Hashem v'samach. Rashi says that the words L'fnei Hashem run into the next pasuk. You read it like this: Yaakov Vaysai L'ritzaynai L'fnei Hashem v'samach. So he learns that L'fnei Hashem v'samach yadai, that the smicha. This smicha means you put your hands on the animal, and it's called smicha. It's resting your hand, and you say the certain words on it. That's called smicha. So Rashi's learning has to be L'fnei Hashem. It's running this pasuk into the next pasuk. L'fnei Hashem v'samach yadai al Rosh Hashanah. So Rashi therefore learns that ein smicha bebama. Rashi says there's no smicha on a bama. Bama was not in the base of Mikdash. It was outside, right in the fields. So Rashi seems to learn that the pasuk is running in, but it seems like an interesting thing. Rashi maybe he learns the pasuk that it could go both ways. It could go forward. The words of L'fnei Hashem go forwards and backwards. One thing is it goes forwards into the next pasuk, L'fnei Hashem v'samach, and you see that by his Divrei Maskol. The Divrei Maskol, the heading of Rashi is L'fnei Hashem v'samach, and from there he learns out that only in L'fnei Hashem could you do smicha, which is in the oil mayit of the Mishkan. Could you do the smicha? You can't do smicha out in the field, in the bama. That's one way Rashi's learning, where the L'fnei Hashem in front of the Mishkan, where the Hashem Shechina is dwelling. Yeah. On the other hand, Rashi probably also says in the Pashut Pshat that it would go Yaakov Benu Pesach Oil Mayit Yaakov L'fnei Hashem, in front of Hashem. you should be makriv. So Rashi seems to go that the pasuk could go to the Lefnei Hashem is being used double. We use it; it's being pulled from both directions.
First way is simple. It means the Mishkan as opposed to a Bama.
Right.
What's the second way? In front of Hashem, meaning what?
The second way is
just be in front of Hashem.
In front of Hashem is referring back to the beginning of the pasuk. That's where you should bring your animal. You should bring your animal to the Pesach Oil Bayit L'Fnei Hashem.
But bottom line, it's the same thing anyway.
Bottom line, well, I'm just pointing out from Rashi that Rashi is using the two words of L'Fnei Hashem. He's using it twice. He's double using the word.
Going to the next pasuk.
He's double dipping on the words. L'Fnei Hashem.
Say that again?
He's using the words of L'Fnei Hashem twice. He's using it clearly to say that it goes into the next pasuk, L'Fnei Hashem b'samach, to say that you can only do smicha L'Fnei Hashem, only in the oil ma'id where Hashem Shechina is dwelling.
Oh, and then also the smicha is only done in the smicha is only done in the Mishkan,
right?
And you should bring your korban to the Mishkan.
And the other one is you should bring your L'Fnei Hashem, right? That's how Rashi's learning, and it seems to me that Rashi he's using it twice. I guess sometimes we have that idea that you could use it from both ways. I had it one time in.
But the Visamach sounds like it separates the. I don't know how. It's a connector, but it still sounds like you wouldn't say Lifnei Hashem Visamach Yado. Huh? You would start a sentence saying Lifnei Hashem Visamach Yado.
No, it's
you would say Lifnei Hashem Samach Yado. I don't think you'd say Visamach Yado if you were starting a sentence with Lifnei Hashem. I don't think you would say Lifnei Hashem Visamach Yado. You would say
it's a continuation from so you read the whole pasuk and you read right into pasuk Dalet. Hold that subject and then go straight into V'samach Yadai. That's when you do the smichos, right there.
So yeah, basically there's no stop there.
Right. That's how.
And the other interpretation and the other way is saying there is a stop.
Yeah, there's a stop. It's a separate pasuk.
What's the well known? Right?
Okay, that's the other way to learn it. Now, I'll just tell you an interesting thing also. That according to the other way to read it, and the Ibn Ezra actually says these words. He says on the word L'Rotzon L'Fnei Hashem, he says 4 words. Sheyakrivenu b'Ritzonai v'lo ba'onos. Let's say this goes with Rashi. It should be b'Ritzonai and not ba'onos. So he learns. It comes out a funny thing according to Rashi, Rambam, Ibn Ezra, that you have to read the pasuk. It's like broken up. It's called Mesuris. It's I don't know the English word for Mesuris. It's mixed up the whole how to read the pasuk. You have to take the words of L'Fnei Hashem and you really should put them early in the pasuk, because really you should read it like this: Yakrivenu el Pesach Oil Mayid. You should be makrivit to the Pesach Oil Mayid. L'Fnei Hashem. There, Yakriv Vayisai L'Rtzonai. Because it comes out L'Fnei Hashem is really Pesach Oil Mayid, and it was broken up because L'Rtzonai has nothing to do with Hashem, according to Rashi. L'Rtzonai is the man's own will. So when it says the man's own will, it says you should bring it to the Pesach Oil Mayid, and there's L'Fnei Hashem. So, and this that interrupts it to tell you something else. Yaakov Vayisai L'Rtzonai is force him and make sure it's by his will. But it's not, L'Fnei Hashem is a separate idea. It's really going back to the Pesach Oil Mayid. So
maybe by definition, the fact that it earlier tells you that you would have thought that it's just forcing meaning to do it. Over here, it's not. Right after it's telling you that it's really like
you want to say that L'Fnei Hashem is telling you this Rambam that it's all Hashem's Ratzon?
That's why it's not written the way that you're saying.
Interesting. You have to think about it. You have to think about it. It's a remez. You're saying like a remez, like a hint to that. I hear. Okay. So, but that's what it comes out. The Pesach oil moed is really Lefnei Hashem. It should have said Lefnei Hashem next to it, but it's sort of mixed up. But it's sort of like saying Pesach oil moed. Yaakov Oisai, Yaakov Eno Pesach oil moed. Yaakov Oisai Lefnei Hashem. Really, there's no reason to break it up by saying the forcing in the middle. So therefore, I hear Eli saying an interesting idea, but that's why it broke it up. But Lefnei Hashem, according to this, should really go back before. It's just a how do you say it in English? To explain it. It's explaining the noun. It's a pronoun. The pronoun. The pronoun, or it's oil ma'id Lefnei Hashem. Not a good grammar, but probably an adjective to describe the noun. Lefnei Hashem is describing it. It's another way of saying oil ma'id. Oil ma'id Lefnei Hashem. Okay, so that's this idea of. So, and Rashi obviously is learning up that the reason why we split it up is, although it's really out of place, but Rashi told us, you know why we put it in the end? It's because we wanted to chapparain another drasha, which means we wanted to chapparain also V'sama. So Rashi he wanted to get both in one. Really, it should be in the beginning. But you want to get V'sama, so you put it in the end, so it could be a smichus to be right next to the pasuk of V'sama. And then we get the other drasha.
Where do you see that in the Rashi?
Well, because Rashi just says Rashi want to tell you that drasha, and that drasha explains to me why the words are really put there, even though they're really out of order. It really should have said El Pesach Oil Moed Lefnei Hashem, to say the place all at once, and then get into the description of if he's forced or not.
So the Lefnei Hashem creates the smichus?
The Lefnei Hashem, it is the smichus. That is Lefnei Hashem V'samach is the smichus. And the Rashi is saying the reason why I wanted to break up is to get the smichus next to the samach, even though it's really out of order. It should have really been together with the Helmay.
Why, if you had Lefnei Hashem after Ol Moed, you couldn't learn the samach yado still going on
right.
the Mishkan?
Right.
Only in the Mishkan?
Right.
Why?
It seems because it's not just smichus. Rashi is learning a smichus of the word. The two words are run.
You have to have.
Seems like it's a run-on sentence. You have a run-on sentence, but just to go with samach to bring it back to 5 words back, seems like we wouldn't do that sort of smichus. That's already. You would have
Is it a hekesh that he's learning?
No, it's not a hekesh. But
what's it called?
It's called smichus. We have this in Yevamis. In Yevamis, the Gemara actually learns this out. That it's from a pasuk that such an idea of darshaning smichus. We learn out. We could look that up after. So that's the idea of how to read the pasuk. Different ways how to read it. But Rashi seems to learn both ways. And right, the pasuk pshat Rashi also seems to learn.
When they say ein smicha, when he says ein smicha of bama, does that mean you're not allowed to do smicha of bama,
right.
or does that mean you don't have to do smicha?
No, there's no smicha of bama. You don't do it there. Right, we don't do it. Okay. Now, just to go into one other idea, what's the idea of the korban? So there's a big machlokes, the Rambam and the Ramban. Why we bring a korban? So the Rambam says in Moreh Nevuchim that the reason is because there used to be that they used to serve Avodah Zarah, the Mitzrayim, they would serve it the animal to the animals. It says in the pasuk that Pari told Moshe, why don't you just serve your God in this Mitzrayim? Why do you have to go out far away? That was the Taina. So what did Moshe say? Moshe said we can't. Ki toyavas Mitzrayim. Well, he said he has to go out of the city. There's different drugs there, but he said Ki toyavas Mitzrayim. What does it mean Ki toyavas Mitzrayim? So look at Rashi, interesting Rashi, if you want you can look that up. Rashi says that if they're Avodah Zarah, the Mitzrayim, they serve the idols from that animal, those animals, the Goldwasser, the sheep. And therefore, if we're going to slaughter the sheep, so we're going to have a problem. The Mitzrayim are going to, they're just going to have an attack. and we won't be able to do our service in Mitzrayim. Therefore, we have to go out of Mitzrayim. So you see from there that the Mitzrayim served the sheep. That's one.
They serve the actual animals?
Yes.
They treat the animals as animals?
Yes, right.
Pshat was that it was a toeva to the Mitzrayim?
So now, it's an interesting word, that word toeva. So you
It's
look
an
at Rashi.
abomination to the Mitzrayim?
No. So you look at Rashi, it comes out that the word toeva is used. That's not what the Mitzrayim held. Mitzrayim held it was a god.
No, but us sacrificing them, would that be sort of a...
No, it's not a toeva. That would be a mitzvah. That if Hashem asked us to do it, that would be a mitzvah.
From their perspective, from the Mitzrayim's perspective,
If we would do that,
slaughter their god, is that some sort of an abomination?
So let me read you. If you want to know, for them it would be, maybe for them it would be a teva. There's two pshatim in Rashi. Let me tell you how Rashi brings it down. Because according to one of them, it's a big chiddush how to read it. There. And the way to find it is to look where he said, serve us, but serve us in this land. Right? You have to follow all the ways. First Pari said, serve, you can go in this land. Then he said, okay, you know what, fine, I'll let you go out, but just with the men.
Right.
Then he said, so it goes in successions. So I'll read you how he says it over here. Loi nachon, Perek Ches, Pasuk Chaf Beis. Moshe said, I can't do this. Ki toyavas Mitzrayim nizbach la'Hashem Elokeinu. Because it's this despicable thing of Mitzrayim to shecht it to Hashem.
No, for us to.
I'm going to read it. I'll read Rashi. Let me read Rashi. I'll read it. Hey, nizbach, if we will slaughter the toyavas Mitzrayim le'neim to their eyes, surely they will be stoned. So Rashi says on this, Toyavas Mitzrayim. So Rashi says what the word means, Yiras Mitzrayim. It's the God of Mitzrayim. Just like he brings down another pasuk. So Eitzel Yisrael Kairei Isa Teva. For the Jews, we're giving it a nickname called the Teva. But you have to wonder what Moshe told Paro. This is food for thought. What did Moshe tell Paro? He didn't tell him. I think he told him Ki Toyavas Mitzrayim. This is the despicable item of Mitzrayim. Which really means Avodah Zarah. It really means Yiras, their gods. But Moshe didn't. I don't know if he told Paro, Ki Toyavas Mitzrayim, those words.
No, but it's a very ambiguous way to speak. So you can interpret it two ways. Paro could have interpreted it to mean that the Mitzrayim will be disgusted by what we're doing because it's their God.
It's a noun. Toyavas Mitzrayim. It's what we call a smichus. Smichus is called in English. It's called a construct form. And when you put two words together, it turns into a double word. It's Toyavas Mitzrayim, like Bnei Yisrael. It's not Bonim. You drop the mem of Bonim and you put it into Bnei Yisrael. Toyeva, you drop the hey, make it into a tuf. It becomes Toyavas Mitzrayim.
That's the other way of looking at it. That he really meant.
That's this way. That's the first way of
That's not the way he conveyed it to Paro. He was very diplomatic when he spoke to Paro. So I'm just suggesting that he said it in a way that Paro could read and understand it, but also if we hold it Torah about Mitzrayim, so doing it outside of Mitzrayim is also the same issue.
Well, the outside of Mitzrayim won't be a problem because they won't see it. The problem will be if the Mitzrayim see us to their very eyes slaughtering their gods. Then they can't hold themselves.
That's how he made Paro understand it. But for us, the constructive, the way it's written, that we can understand that this is a disgusting. What these Egyptians are doing is really disgusting.
So the truth is, you have to look up this Rashi, because Rashi says an alternate explanation, and I think that's your pshat. The alternate explanation is Toyavas Mitzrayim, Davar Sano Yehu Mitzrayim. It is a hated idea to the Mitzrayim. This thing that will slaughter, because we're going to slaughter their Yerasim, their God, and will they not stone us? So you're saying the other pshat in Rashi.
Their eyes.
But that's the way he's saying it to Paro, so Paro will accept it.
Yeah, but that's the second pshat. What's the first pshat? Turn to page 172. Turn to page 172. I'll show you it inside.
This is a despicable thing for us, what the Egyptians are doing.
What's this? Yeah, but
what what he wanted Paro to understand is we can't do it in front of you. We have to do it out there because the Mitzvah will be discussed that we're killing their gods, we'll slaughter their gods, and therefore they're going to stone us. That's what he wanted Paro to understand, so that he'll say, okay, so do it outside. But there was the way he said it in that ambiguous way, because he could have said it in a different way that would have been clearer that way, is also to convey the idea that what the Mitzrayim themselves are doing, that they're having these gods, is really a disgusting thing.
So how do you explain the first shot, right? You can turn to the pasuk, just look at it inside. Just take a look. It's a fascinating graphic. Parshas Vayikra in Shemois, in those small, it's Perek Ches, Pasuk Chav Beis. It's right in the beginning of the middle of Vayikra, after the whole, when they're going out of they're in their way in the middle of Mitzrayim. So you can look at the pasuk first. Read the pasuk.
What
Perek Ches, pasuk Chav Beis.
So it's not like that shot.
So I want to bring out that there's two different shatim in Rashi. And according to the second shot is what Rav Dov is saying. The second shot is that it's a Toyavas Mitzrayim. It's a disgusting, hated thing for the Mitzrayim to see us slaughtering their God. That's the second shot of Rashi. But what's the first shot? The first shot is Toyavas Mitzrayim. Rashi says two words: Yiras Mitzrayim, which means he's teaching the words Toyavas Mitzrayim, the God of Mitzrayim. A lot of times the whole Gemara, you always see, whenever it says Avodah Zarah, we always give it a bad nickname. We give it a nickname because you're not supposed to call Avodah Zarah by its name, and you're supposed to call it for the bad. It says, let's say Nusa, you're supposed to make Latzanas of Avodah Zarah. Will anyone ask you when you're allowed to say Latzanas? It's not on Purim. If there's an Avodah Zarah, they would call it different names. Beis Galia, they would call, the Gemara speaks that they would call it different names to make fun. So here, it says Toyavas Mitzrayim, Yiras Mitzrayim. And he brings a proof. The proof is, he brings like a different place, he says Olamalka Toyavas B'nei Amma. There's another time where we see it's referring to their Avodah Zarah, and it says Toyavas. So, and Rashi says, Eitel Yisrael, next to when the Yidden, referring to the Jews, in reference to the Jews, it's called Toyefa. And I'll read this in Simchei Chamim says, Li Yisrael Haya Omer Kain. There you go.
See this? Exactly the way I said it over.
So, yeah, no, what? No.
For Jews, we consider it a Toyefa. Their Avodah Zarah is disgusting. It's an abomination. That's one way he was saying it. That's one way you could interpret it. But at the second way, he was interpreting because he was so diplomatic. He was saying to Paro.
So the question is, who is he talking to? The two Pshatim are arguing. Did he speak to Paro, or did he speak to the Yidden? Which means I'm right. According to the first shot that he said.
Twice because the pasuk says Toyavas Mitzrayim twice. The first one.
No, but Rashi's only going on one. Rashi's going on the Dibra Maslo Toyavas Mitzrayim.
Both of them are Toyavas Mitzrayim.
How many times does it say Toyavas Mitzrayim?
It says it twice. The same pasuk.
That's true. That's true. No, but Rashi's not.
The first time to the first one.
Yeah, but no, but Rashi, I don't think he makes up that. I don't think he's dividing.
It makes sense. If you read the pasuk like that. First time you're talking.
Rashi doesn't do that. Rashi says that noun called Toyavas Mitzrayim. He doesn't say a new different maskal and say the second shot is the second noun and it splits up. Now here you are.
You have to say it.
But which one that Rashi's saying, the word Toyavas Mitzrayim, both times mean the same thing. Because he doesn't make a new different maskal and say it's referring to the second shot. He learns up whatever Toyavas Mitzrayim is, he's going to give you one shot or another shot. And the difference between the two shots are who was he speaking to? Was he speaking to Paro or to the Yidden? So the first shot says that he's calling their gods a Toyeva. He wasn't speaking to Paro. You can't say to Paro, we can't go slaughter animals because it's a despicable it's a despicable item of Mitzrayim. He's telling the God of the whole, the the king of the whole Egypt, was telling him about his whole nation, which Paro was included in that it's despicable, this Avodah Zarah. So you wouldn't call it in front of Paro. So therefore Rashi says he was talking to the Yidden, and he said to the Yidden, the Tayevas Mitzrayim. He was telling the Yidden, that's why we have to go out of Mitzrayim. Because it's Tayevas Mitzrayim, we can't just slaughter their Tayevas in Mitzrayim. Right? That's because he was the Yidden. The second shot is he was speaking to Paro, like Rav Dov was saying. That's the second shot. And he says over there, Tayavas Mitzrayim means it's disgusting to the Mitzrayim. To the Mitzrayim that we should slaughter this thing, their God, in front of them. And they're speaking to Paro. That's the second shot. Which one do you like?
I like speaking to Paro. That's the narrative. He's speaking to Paro, but at the same time there's a message to us. His choice of the words are.
Rav Dov is asking an interesting thing, because the pasuk is really saying that Moshe was talking to Paro. Paro said, "Go serve your gods in this land." So Moshe said, "We can't do that. It's not right to do that." Yitayavas Mitzrayim Nizbach LaHashem Elokeinu, and they're going to stone us.
Yeah, read it. The second shot in Rashi, that's the Pashup shot. But the reason he chose the word Toevas is because of the first shot in Rashi. Because there's together. No, because there's a simultaneous message. Not that he's talking to the Jews there. He's talking to the Jews for eternity. He's talking to the Torah is telling us that Avodah Zarah is an abomination.
So that could be shot. He really said to Paro the gods, but when it got written in the Chumash, it turned into Toeva. When Moshe sent it over to the Klal Yisrael and he wrote it down, he changed it to Toeva. It's a fascinating idea that the words change. But you can't mix the two pshatim together because they're two separate pshatim. Either you hold it's a disgusting thing for a disgusting idea for the Jews to slaughter their gods in front of their eyes. That's the second pshat of Rashi. The first pshat is no. Their gods, or we call them their toevos. It's a euphemism. Right. That's the two pshatim. Anyway,
you're learning a little bit different than because you're saying that he actually didn't say the word. You're suggesting that he actually, when he was speaking to Paro, did not say the word toeva. Right. He said gods.
Right.
And I'm saying no. He still said the word toeva, but it's a euphemism. It's a euphemism that we understand that he meant.
But he said that the Paro a euphemism, right?
No.
Imagine, I'll give you a class in the euphemism.
No.
You're learning about Kiddush. Kiddush by day is called. I'll give you an example.
Paro doesn't take it as a euphemism. Paro takes it as the second shot in Rashi.
Paro understood it like the second shot of Rashi?
Right.
No, but what about the first shot of Rashi? The first shot of Rashi.
That's for us.
1 second. According to the first shot of Rashi, he didn't learn like the second shot of Rashi. Paro took it like he meant it like the first shot of Rashi, and Paro took it like the second shot of Rashi. No, that's the shalom. According to the first shot of Rashi.
If you look at the words, it looks like the literal meaning. It looks like
both
pretty
shatim
simple.
are emes.
It looks like the second. I'm saying it's emes, but you're not acknowledging the possibility that he could have been saying that like a more hidden message for us. That
Paro didn't understand the hidden message.
No, Paro understood the simple message.
He doesn't do that.
Huh?
He didn't see the euphemism.
Right.
But according to the first shot, Moshe didn't mean it like the second shot. He meant it only as a euphemism. According to the first shot of Rashi, he meant it as a euphemism. He was telling him to his face, or not to his face. Right? I'll give you an example. Kiddush by day is D'Rabbanan. So on Shabbos. Friday night Kiddush is D'Oraisa. Friday night is D'Oraisa, right, Elliot? Shabbos day is D'Rabbanan. What do we call Shabbos day's Kiddush? What's Shabbos day Kiddush called? Kiddush Rabbah. Why is it Kiddush Rabbah called? Because it's a euphemism.
Right.
So that's a classic example that if Shabbos day would come to us, you wouldn't say Kiddush Rabbah.
You argued my point. I told you what Kiddush Rabbah means. Really, it's not that hush of a Kiddush vis-a-vis the night Kiddush. Kiddush. The night Kiddush is the important Kiddush. So what they did was they called it Kiddush Rabbah to give it more chashivus, so that people wouldn't just ignore it and take it more seriously.
Yes, it's a different type of euphemism.
But you know what? If you ask anybody, the common guy on the street, he won't know that. It's Kiddush Rabbah. Oh,
that's because he's Amaretz. That's because he's Amaretz. I want to know. For the Torah doesn't make up the name Kiddush Rabbah for the Amaretz on the street who doesn't know the difference between Friday night and Shabbos day. He doesn't know the difference between Shabbos and
it's probably a rabbinical thing.
But they made it for people who knew They made it for people who knew a little bit of stuff. They didn't write Kiddush Rabbah for the guy who doesn't know the difference.
No, I think they did.
Oh, Kiddush Rabbah means it's a euphemism for us who know that really Friday Shabbos day is really D'Rabbanan, but we gave it a nice name.
I don't agree.
It's not made for. What do you think it's made for?
It's made for the regular guy let's not call him an Amar. It's the regular guy who doesn't really know the halachas. The average Joe.
Yeah.
The average Joe.
So why are we tricking him?
To say that to realize, don't belittle the Kiddush of the day Kiddush. It's called the Kiddush Rabbah. Give it more chashivah.
Yeah, but he wouldn't belittle in the first place. He doesn't know it's D'Rabbanan in the first place. He probably thinks it's D'Oraisa also. He thinks they're both D'Oraisa, or they're both D'Rabbanan. He doesn't know.
Well, not for sure. He'll think it is D'Oraisa. It's called Kiddush Rabbah.
But why are they doing it? Why are we tricking him and making him mixed up? He'll think Shabbos day is D'Oraisa and Friday night is D'Rabbanan.
Why do you think that?
You're mixing him all up. He's going to come out all straight, all mixed up.
So you think it's specifically geared towards the people in the know?
People know it's D'Rabbanan. We know it's D'Rabbanan, but we give it a nice name. We don't want to give it say it's the small Kiddush.
What's the name of Kiddush at night?
I don't know if it has an official name.
You didn't give it a fancy name.
We don't have to give it a fancy name, but we don't want to degrade the Shabbos day Kiddush and call it the small Kiddush. Oh, you're the small Kiddush.
Call it the day Kiddush.
So we give it a nice name.
Why not call it the day Kiddush? I'm giving you a hard time today.
Okay. I don't know. But that's the idea of euphemism. In any event, what I wanted to bring down with the Rashi is all I wanted to do with this Rashi, but it's a fascinating Rashi, so it's worth it just to go into it. But that's why we bring Korbanos. We bring Korbanos because, says the Rambam, to take a person out of this view that the Korban, the mitzvah, that you bow down to an animal. No, we take the animal, we slaughter it. You have to go to break a midah. You have to go to the extreme. Go to the other extreme. And the only way to break that ideology of bowing down to animals, thinking that they are the gods, is one way. You slaughter them. You just rip apart all their blood and the chalif, and that will take you out of that ideology of thinking they are the gods. Ask the Ramban. So why did Noach bring a carbon? Why did Cain and Abel bring a carbon? Why did Bilam bring a carbon? Bilam wasn't trying to take you out of any. He didn't have any. He wouldn't do that idea of taking you out of the false ideologies. As well as Cain and Abel. There were no avodah zarah yet at those times. So that's the Ramban's question. Because that the Ramban argues, I want to say a different explanation. The Ramban himself wants to say that the reason is a different shot, because it should take the place of the Aveira. The person did an Aveira with his dibur, with his thought, with his action, and therefore Hashem said, bring a carbon and do shmicha, put your hands on it, do an action, say vidoy, to confess your sins with your mouth, and take out the innards, which are connected to the feet and the hands, right, of a person who did the Aveira, and burn it in the fire, the care of a kalayim, the innards and the kalayim, what?
Why take it out on the animal?
It will be in place. The kidneys, which are the advice, they give a person advice to do that bad Aveira and burn it on the mizbeach, and then think that should be keneged damai, the dam of the animal. We switch it. His dam should be instead of my dam. And the person should start thinking all that. When he does all that he did a chet with his dam and with his guf and with his nefesh, and really his own blood should be spilled, and instead I'm giving a tamura, I'm giving a replacement, instead that its nefesh should be instead of my nefesh, and its avarim should be instead of my avarim, and therefore you go bring it to the kohen, and the kohen will daven for you, and that's the idea of the Korban says in the Korban.